All right. So I'm here with Roy Shirley uh, and my partner in the Wild Man Mystery School. And we want to talk about our experience in a program that birthed this. Uh, Program's called Men Four Directions.
Yeah.
So Men Gathering at Four Seasons,
Mm, mm.
correlating with the four directions. So Men Gathering, spring, east, summer, south, fall, west, winter, north, men, four directions. And this program was started by Joel Blunk in partnership with his church, I believe, but also Oasis Ministries.
Mhm.
Roy had the
Mm.
opportunity of going through this program a couple times and leading the program. I drove up from South Carolina to Pennsylvania four times
Yeah,
in 2018.
amazing, amazing commitment. Yes.
Yeah, to participate. So we thought we would just share some of our experience, though. Wild Man Mystery School, it won't be a carbon copy. And I remember being on the phone with Joel before he died and wanting to get all the notes. And Joel very clearly communicating on the phone. And Matthew, I want you to make this your own.
Mm, mm,
This is a couple years back. I
mm, mm,
wanted this to happen in the Southeast.
mhm.
And so we honor where we come from. We honor Joel. We honor Men for Directions. Share a little bit of our experience, and as a way to say this could happen. Something like this could happen at the Wild Man Mystery School. So yeah, with that, Roy, what was it like for you? And what brought you back to the Men Four Directions a second year, and what made you lead it?
Yeah, well, my journey had been a long one. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, a very rural area, and loved being out in nature. I mean, there was a lot of availability for walking in fields and woods and just being out and appreciating things, which I did. But the thing that I didn't realize was that what I was experiencing, I was really taking in God's creation in ways that had never been explained to me in any way. Um, After college, I spent time in the Navy, loved being out on the wing of the ship and watching the ocean and watching the creatures and taking in the beauty. Some of my overnight hours of being on watch were just times of appreciating the silence and the beauty of it all. And again, not really being introduced to what I was seeing and so drawn to.
Mhm.
Um, and and then I was a counselor for many years. But then met Joel Blanc in a very unique way. Had been at a conference where he was doing music, and it was where Richard Rohr and Bill Plotkin were talking about the seasons of life and going into some depth and teaching about them. And I met Joel after that and found out that he did this thing called Men for Direction. And so he and I stayed in touch, and I decided to be part of it. And the thing from immediately from the first retreat, the incredible openness of experiencing this, not just being out in nature, but the beauty of nature is there's a depth of God that is touches us deep in our hearts. That's not just our head processing it, but it's that part of us that absorbs beauty and desires beauty and longs for it. It's part of our deepest longing to connect that with that kind of beauty. And so started taking it in. And our first retreat was related to South. So that was, and it was in the summer. So it was the beauty of here we are in the heat of this um, wonderful weekend, meeting these guys, talking about some interesting things, just being out alone and beginning to connect some things about God and nature that I had never seen. And it went on from there to each of the other seasons. And what I realized was, God wants us to find the person that he designed us to be. Psalm 139 says, He knit us in our mother's womb, and then goes on and talks about that there's no place that we can be or are going to go that He's not already there. And so to open to experience to that is just an amazing thing to take in. And psychologist Jung says we need to find our true self because we have our false selves that we've learned to put in place to survive, but they are not the real us. Until we find our true self, the
Mm,
passion of who we were designed to be, we're not going to feel it or experience it in the same way.
mm,
And that's what Men for Direction opened up.
mm,
Going to the same place 4 times a year, each of the seasons of the year, but the place looked different each time because, oh, well, we don't have trees with leaves anymore, and the leaves have fallen, and it's same but different. And okay, let's talk about my life in this season of the year. What can I know in a deeper way about me as some of the leaves fall off um, and on and through each of the seasons, each of the retreats, and then to do that as you had mentioned with a committed group of men
mm.
who travel distance, like from South Carolina to excuse me to central Pennsylvania, and in doing that to share deeply, take it in, love one another,
Mhm,
and build on that.
mhm. Yeah.
And I'm grateful that at this point in my journey, there is a calmness because as we go through the seasons of life, the hope is that we will become more of a sage, somebody who's more, brings some presence to the situation that helps others. And I feel privileged to do that. And partnering with you, who has the energy and the passion and the wild man stuff, it's like, wow, what a journey this is going to be.
Yeah, I do think we complement each other pretty well. You know what, what you're saying about the the invitation to peel back all the false layers, like quoting Carl Jung and the search for that true self. I'm also recalling that he said something like the best truths are always in a circle.
Yes.
I don't know the exact quote, but it's something like, the best core of truth is always in a circle.
Mm,
And um, and how I I can do work, uh, I can pray, and I can read books, and even this conversation we're indoors,
that's
right? I'm
right.
underneath the roof with my lights, and
Mhm.
so that it's good,
Yeah,
and there's some things I can't know about myself, and there's ways I cannot become unless I'm in conversation with the wilder world.
that's right.
To be human,
Yes.
to be human, um, is to be in I need the wisdom of the rocks and the stream. And
Yes.
like you mentioned, the tree that drops her leaves in the fall,
Yes.
like, and not just for my own benefit, you know, but also to be in relationship. Like, how can I know myself outside a relationship with my environment, without outside a relationship with what you're saying, God, and being
Mhm.
intimately and intricately wove together, my mother's
Yeah.
womb. What a beautiful poetry that is. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think the the importance that goes along with what you're saying is that we often have so many blind spots that it takes being with other men, experiencing, hearing what they're experiencing, hearing some of the things they say to us to help us see the blind spots, to be encouraged, to sometimes be have some things to work on, but it's the experience of nature and of the human connection that allows for the transformation that has to take place.
Hmm.
We need to transform from um, being adolescents who are just kind of doing life however to perform and to be a part of the fun of life, and for there to be a transformation to being a generative adult. And that's so important. And Bill Plotkin in his talking about it says that if we don't go through that transformation, um, then we're patho-adolescents. And he said that probably 90% or more of adults are patho-adolescents. And Richard Rohr then will say that that kind of transformation is a spiritual transformation as well that deepens us so that we are able to appreciate God's love within ourselves and share it with others, both his love and his grace. And that's so important.
Mm. Yeah, I think, and I want to close with that. I want highlighting that, maturity, or like elderhood or adulthood or generative adulthood, isn't dependent on age.
Right,
Just because
exactly.
I'm 35 does not make me an adult. Just
That's
because
right.
I'm 55 does not make me an elder, or sage. There are certain capacities,
Yeah,
thresholds,
yeah,
letting goes, um, that are beyond age. And
yeah.
I do believe that is what something we're offering here in the Wild Man Mystery School. That,
Yes,
like, this is a place. This is a place to work with masculinities, and what's
yeah,
it like to be a man, and where am I in my
yes,
journey, and what am I being invited into?
yes,
Different ways of being, whether
yes,
more of a warrior archetype, or magician, or kingly, or
yeah,
lover,
yes,
sage, all the different ways.
yes,
Um, yeah.
yes. Yeah, and sometimes another metaphor that's often used is the caterpillar that's worm on a branch of a tree goes into a chrysalis, and when the transformation happens, out comes this beautiful butterfly
Hmm. Hmm.
that you would never imagine that that
Hmm.
worm would look like this.
Hmm.
And the transformation happens, and it's
Yes.
part of God's design. So um, we can appreciate some kind of transformation going on for each of us.
Yeah. Thank you, Roy.
Good. Blessings.